Your number one negative thought pattern that is contributing to your anxiety is catastrophic thinking. Catastrophic thinking now, I'm not talking about a little bit of negative thinking here. I'm talking about epic, disastrous, ruinous, worst case scenario type thinking. You know what I'm talking about. You've probably already done it today. It's sort of like the same old saying, making a mountain out of a molehill. So I'll give you a quick example. Let's just say you walked into the office one day and you noticed that your boss was a little distant. And suddenly you decide your boss's mood is going to be your problem. You begin to think that your boss is mad at you and maybe is getting ready to fire you. Well, if you get fired, then you'll lose your house, you'll lose your car, you'll lose your spouse, no one will like you, and you'll be living under a bridge. Now you just went from your boss seeming to be a little distant to living under a bridge in less than 5 seconds. Now that is catastrophic thinking. It's one of those sneaky little habits that before you know it, it can cause a full-blown panic attack or even a lifelong phobia. It just had to start with one simple thought, and then that led to the next and the next, and before you know it, you are in full-blown catastrophic thinking. So, you might be asking yourself, why is this so bad? Sure, I do it, but why is it so bad? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's super important you know exactly why this is so bad for you, particularly as an anxiety sufferer. Now, the truth is that thoughts are chemical, but what does that actually mean? Well, it means that when you release a catastrophic thinking thought, your mind and body does not know the difference between that thought is real or imagined. So your brain sends out fight or flight response chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol, and one of two things will happen at this point. Either these chemicals will build up in your system for a surprise panic attack that seems like it came out of nowhere, or after that thought occurs, you begin to immediately sweat, your heart beats faster, you find it harder to breathe, you might even be trembling. And now you're noticing this is happening and you kind of want to start freaking out because you start to worry that someone else might notice, and you might even begin to worry that you're having a heart attack or feel like you're losing your mind, which, by the way, at this point triggers your mind to send out more fight or flight response chemicals, and it's all downhill from there. Whew, that is a nasty, vicious cycle, isn't it? Most people think it was their physical response that gave them the anxiety, but it all started here, right up here, with one simple thought that cascaded into a catastrophic thought. And sometimes it ends up into a full-blown panic attack. Okay, do you want the good news or bad news? Well, I'll give them to you straight. The bad news for anxiety sufferers is that our thoughts are powerful. The good news for anxiety sufferers is that our thoughts are powerful. All right, so let's use our thoughts for peace of mind rather than panic. Sounds pretty reasonable, right? I think so. So right now, though, unfortunately, you have an ingrained catastrophic thinking pattern, and I'm going to give you 3 powerful mind hacks to override that thought pattern and help you establish new patterns of thought that will empower you and help you replace that anxiety with peace, joy, and confidence. Number 1, this is the IRS tool: interrupt, redirect, and self-regulate. You find this hack on page 176 in the Escape Anxiety book. As soon as you find yourself engaging in negative thinking, you don't want to wait till it's already in catastrophic thinking. Now, this is going to take practice and awareness on your part, so that at your first negative thought that you're aware of, you need to immediately interrupt it. Get up from your chair, turn on some music, call someone, read something, anything, just to get off that thought as soon as possible. Redirect. This is consciously redirecting that thought to something pleasing, funny, or feel good. This causes those feel-good hormones to kick in and override the anxiety, stress hormone release. Self-regulate. Self-regulate is making the conscious decision to take action in the way you just did, which will indeed self-regulate your central nervous system. These easy steps put you in the driver's seat of your mind and body. Don't be a victim anymore to your mind. Mind hack number 2 is a physical trick to interrupt or get ahead of anxiety when you're either feeling anxiety or you're getting ready to walk into a situation that might cause anxiety symptoms. This was a real game changer for me and will be for you too. The idea is to cause just enough physical discomfort or pain to cause your body to release powerful endorphins. Endorphins are our body's own chemicals to relieve pain, but more importantly for you, they also cause the body to shift into the relaxation response, which is the exact opposite of the stress or panic response. The down and dirty ways you can do this are: 1, snap a rubber band on your wrist. 2, kind of just press your fingernail, if you have one, into your skin somewhere to cause a little sharp pain. Or 3, okay, now this sounds odd, but it really works and no one's going to know you're doing it. You just press your tongue on the roof of your mouth really hard for about 20 seconds, and I mean really hard. And because we never do this, it's very fatiguing and it causes that relaxation response to kick in right away. Now, by the way, none of these tips are intended to cause harm, just a little sharp pain to interrupt a thought and cause those pain-relieving chemicals to flow. They work. All right, number 3 mind hack is the thought life pie chart. It's on page 159 in my book, Escape Anxiety, 8 Steps to Freedom Through Meditative Therapies. But I'm going to send it to you now in an email so you can use it yourself, and please use it at home with your family. It's a great way to measure your own thought life and your family's as well. This is important since anxiety is a strong genetic trait. Now, I hope you're starting to realize by now that your thought patterns and limiting beliefs are contributing to your anxiety in a big way. But more importantly, I hope you know that these contributors, though deeply ingrained, do not have to have control over your life anymore. The Escape Anxiety program helps you go deep into what your contributors are, why they are there, and how to overcome them so that you can get rid of your anxiety and get back into peace of mind, joy, and the life you want and deserve. To lock in your seat at the Mind Boss Badassery Life of Anxiety Freedom, watch this next video. See you there. I'm so glad you made it to this point with me. This tells me a couple of things. First of all, it tells me that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And second, it tells me that you're in it to win it, which means you're ready to do what it takes to unlock the chains of anxiety and launch yourself into mind bossery freedom. Now, that's a combo of mind boss badassery, of course, which means thriving at life. Nobody wants to just survive, right? We want to thrive, attack life, live each day to the fullest. Okay, so please don't waste any more time with anxiety that causes you to cancel appointments, bug out of opportunities to spend time with friends and family, avoid meeting new people, not going after that job you want, or not feeling confident enough to ask for that promotion at the job you already have. Now, let's get down to the business of living life free from anxiety. I became a master's level clinician working and training in the world's leading hospitals, treating those recovering from anxiety and addiction. And I'm humbled by what my esteemed colleague, Dr. Harry Hartunian, had to say about me and my program.
Suzanne really nailed it with these 8 steps, simplifying the process of meditation, focusing, the teaching of meditation for the uninitiated. So many of the diseases that we have right now are stress-related.
Before we go any further, please take a look at what internationally acclaimed physician and author of Love, Medicine, and Miracles, Dr. Bernie Siegel, had to say about escape anxiety. The life I live today, the things that I've accomplished, and the joy and peace that I experience, I owe it all to my desperate search for answers to my one simple question. What in the HELL happened to me, and how do I recover and reclaim my life? And of course I owe it to the numerous doctors, people, nurses, therapists, and professors, in fact, that spoon-fed me the keys to my freedom. And now I'm finally able to use my years of struggling with anxiety, searching for answers, and my years in full recovery to help others too. I, in fact, have become that anxiety specialist that I had so desperately searched for so many years ago. And in fact, I can be that one anxiety expert person for you, all in one nice, neat, one-person package, rather than 20 years and 100 people later, similar to the experience that I have. You have the advantage of my knowledge and experience to catapult you into recovery, launch you directly to freedom. You can sprint to your finish line rather than crawl like a turtle like I had to do. So along my journey, treating other people, I learned even more about anxiety. I discovered and analyzed the different contributing factors from people all over the world and in all walks of life. I learned what methods work best for anxiety. It turns out that we're actually a lot more alike than we are different. And after learning that profound piece of wisdom from Dr. Bernie Siegel that thoughts are chemical, I began to hone in on the negative thought patterns, habits, and belief systems that I saw repeating in every patient that I saw. So with this knowledge, I ended up developing 8 steps to address and correct all the common anxiety contributors. I began to use these 8 steps with every patient I saw. And not only did we address their anxiety-causing thought patterns, beliefs, and habits, but we used my neurogenesis meditations to go deep into their subconscious mind and literally rewrite them into positive and self-empowering thought patterns and beliefs that were literally melting away their anxiety and changing their lives. Now let me show you in a compelling video exactly how neurogenesis works. I know you hear all the time about how meditation works, but nobody really ever tells you how and why. Well, knowledge is power, so I'm going to tell you exactly how it works. Now we're going to learn why it's important to use meditations like neurogenesis meditative therapy to help us change worn-out, self-defeating, depressing, and anxiety-provoking thoughts to positive, self-empowering, and peace-provoking thoughts. Remembering that thought patterns are behaviors, and behaviors, whether they're internal or external, are hard to change. I'm going to be using the theory of the 3 layers of consciousness created by the Institute of Hypnosis and Related Sciences to explain how thought behaviors are most effectively changed through the process of meditative practices. Mr. Brainhead is here to help us out. As you can see, there are 3 layers of consciousness: the conscious mind, the critical thinking mind, and the deepest layer, our subconscious mind. Each of these layers have a very important role in our everyday, every moment, in fact, experience of life. The conscious mind is our logic, reasoning, analytical, willpower, and working memory filter. Its role is to judge things, situations, people, basically everything we see, hear, feel, and touch instantly. Without even realizing it, our conscious mind is a filter that is making decisions about whether or not something is safe, real, fun, happy, sad, and what we do about it. It is our most actionable filter, although it is guided by our deepest filter, the subconscious mind. We are conscious of our choices, but not always conscious of our whys. We are choosing something. Now let's move on to our critical thinking mind. This critical thinking layer of the mind is the gatekeeper of what goes into our subconscious mind. It makes decisions too, but they are more thought out rather than instantaneous like our conscious mind. You might hear of a new idea or see a new car or read a new item on a menu and form a very definite opinion about it. For example, you may have very strong opinions about convertible cars. This opinion, whether negative or positive, was likely influenced by early childhood experiences or maybe even more recent knowledge. Either way, you're basing your opinion on something that you've already experienced. This is an important safety filter for us, but it can also work against us if the information has changed or if we aren't allowing ourselves to see it from a different point of view. Finally, there's our subconscious mind. This is where our deeply embedded positive and negative belief systems are stored. I call this the motherboard, like a computer hard drive, where our life scripts are held, recessed memories of trauma, pain, but also joy and hope. If you have anxiety and/or depression, chances are you've had experiences of trauma. When we experience a trauma, especially in early childhood, we develop some very strict thought rules about what's safe and what's not safe. Sometimes these strict thought rules that were intended to keep us safe will actually make us feel like everything in our environment is unsafe. Now that you have a deeper understanding of these layers of consciousness and each of their roles, it will make sense to you that when you're in a deeply relaxed state of meditation, the protective layers of our conscious and critical thinking mind begin to relax and easily give way to new information. When new thoughts, ideas, and suggestions are allowed to enter your subconscious mind through meditation, change and acceptance will occur. And with time and repetition, you will begin to automatically respond differently, both in thought and action. And that's how neurogenesis meditative therapy works, to change brain chemistry by changing thought. Pretty cool, huh? Who knew our thoughts were so incredibly powerful? Both negative and positive, but we're going to get to the positive. So, seeing my patients being freed from anxiety, watching their lives change was the most gratifying work I'd ever done. However, I knew that I was only able to help a very small percentage of the population, and the patients that I was seeing at that time were paying tens of thousands of dollars to be at the institutions that I was treating at. This is when I knew I needed to put everything I had learned about anxiety and how to recover from it into one in-home therapeutic treatment system that everyone could use. So what I'll be doing in the program is taking you through the 8 steps to emotional freedom as if you were right here in my office with me. Each step and each neurogenesis meditation are designed specifically to overcome your self-inflicting negative thought patterns. This will bring you closer to the emotional freedom every time you listen to your therapeutic meditations. Now, I'd like to give you some examples of the steps we go through in Escape Anxiety in-home therapeutic program and how each of them will work to actually change your life. One of the steps we cover is control issues. Now, right now, your emotions are likely often determined by other people's behaviors and actions, and your mood or quality of your day is reliant on a certain person or situation turning out a certain way. And this is no way to live, literally waiting to breathe based on someone else's behavior. Control issues neurogenesis meditation creates a mind awareness perceptual shift from our focus of control on others to our focus of power over ourselves. Our decisions about how we choose to live life one single day at a time, regardless of how other people in our life behave, regardless of what decisions our government makes, our children make, our spouse, or our bosses make. We get to choose how we experience each and every day. And we know this, but sometimes we forget it, right? So what neurogenesis does is brings that mind shift to the power we have over our own lives from awareness at this level to a knowing at a deep cellular level, so that living in our power is just simply a natural response. It's like the difference in being aware that you have to read music in order to play the piano and just being able to sit down and make those keys dance with your fingers. Make sense? So together, we will get you to a place where your emotions, your happiness, stability, and peace of mind come from deep within. You will find acceptance in other people's behavior and actions, and acceptance when things turn out differently than you expected. This mindset will allow you to always have your peace of mind and happiness no matter what the external circumstances are. Talk about freedom. Just imagine that kind of freedom. I'll also take you through the important step of releasing resentment and forgiving others. Resentment is literally what I call the grub worm to the soul. It will eat you alive from the inside out. Holding on to resentments causes continual discontent, and it often feeds worry and fear of the future. This continued stress actually causes our body to release stress hormones, which makes us anxious and eventually turns into illness and disease like stomach ulcers and IBS. Someone can hurt you once, but when you hold on to that resentment, it allows that person and action to continue to harm you because you keep reliving it in your mind. And remember, thoughts are chemical, and your mind simply doesn't know the difference between whether it's an event that is real or it's an event relived. It thinks the event is happening again and again and again. So knowing that, no wonder we don't feel good, right? Well, good news alert. You do have the power to stop that right now. And I'll take you through this step with neurogenesis meditation to release this resentment, let it go once and for all so that it won't keep harming you. Forgiveness is really about freeing yourself, freeing your mind and soul. I found that when we let go and forgive people and circumstances, we make room for profound peace of mind, and it allows you to be fully in charge of your happiness and your life. And by the way, I want to tell you that I give you a step-by-step process to forgive that works in even the most traumatic circumstances. I'll give you a hint. Forgiveness does not mean excusing someone's behavior or letting someone know it was okay, whatever they did. What it does mean is that you're giving to yourself the gift of freedom from its pain and burden that you have been carrying for far too long. Next, we will go through the step to surrender shame and forgiveness of ourselves as well. Yes, this is a big one. Anxiety sufferers seem to hold on to a lot of shame, and you probably have a hard time forgiving yourself and accepting yourself for exactly who you are. In this step to emotional freedom, we will find not only acceptance, but gratitude for who you are and where you are in your life. You'll be able to embrace your unique and magnificent self and release all that negative shame. Self-love is really the best gift that you can give yourself in this life, and this step will get you there. And again, you will experience this at the deepest level of knowing. You'll be able to love and accept yourself as easy as you accept the fact that the earth is round. Won't that be nice, right? These are just a few of the steps to emotional freedom we go through in the Escape Anxiety in-home therapeutic program. Each step allows you to work on how the issue at hand affects your anxiety. The Escape Anxiety program allows you to use your unique story, and then you'll do the neurogenesis meditation. This is where we go deep into the subconscious mind where these changes can really be made. I also cover other anxiety contributors like how what we eat affects our mood, physical issues like thyroid disease, menopause, and how some chemicals and over-the-counter medications may affect your anxiety. And there are a host of other issues that I also cover. So now that you have a great idea of all the components of the Escape Anxiety program, I'd like to ask you to imagine for a moment what your life would be like if you could actually be free from anxiety. So think about these questions for just a moment, and I'd like to suggest that you just feel the answers to yourself. So the questions are, what will your relationships be like when you're free of anxiety? Will you find acceptance and gratitude in your significant other and truly enjoy your time together? Or perhaps you'll finally find your one true love once anxiety is no longer holding you back. Will you be able to enjoy your family, your children more once you feel more at peace yourself? How will you feel about yourself? Will you love yourself? Will you be able to accept and even laugh at your mistakes sometimes? Will you be able to find your happiness and peace from within yourself? What will it look like with your job or career? Will you find more happiness in your work? Will your income go up when your performance increases and maybe you might be able to ask for that promotion? Or maybe you go out and start that business you always dreamed of starting. What will your day-to-day life look like and feel like? How will you feel each day? Imagine just waking up in the morning excited for the day, knowing that all is well. Doing all the things you've always wanted to do. Maybe you go on more adventures, or maybe you just simply feel comfortable going to the grocery store and walking into work. Sometimes it's the little things that make the biggest difference in life. It's my intention through the Escape Anxiety program to give you the tools you need to make your life as good as you just imagined it to be, because you deserve it. With the Escape Anxiety program, I am your therapist and anxiety specialist all along the way. You keep the book, workbook, webinar series, and meditations for life, and you can call on them whenever you need them. And trust me, you will need them. We're human and we tend to slip back into those old patterns of behavior. But don't worry, because you're going to have all of these tools for as long as you need them. Before we go forward, I'd like for you to take a moment and hear what others experienced with me in my program. I love it when others are willing to share their experience, strength, and hope with the Escape Anxiety program. Okay, so let's talk about what your investment is for your recovery process with me as your anxiety expert guide through the Escape Anxiety in-home therapeutic program. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to take you through the process that I went through when trying to find a price for my treatment program. I began to calculate the costs, time, and value of education and experience that I had over the last 25 years of treating anxiety, plus the actual cost of research and development of this program specifically. I calculated that number to be right at $324,000. Clearly, this is not going to work for you as a cost-effective treatment program. So I decided that my most important purpose was to make this program available to everyone. So I decided to take my hourly rate, which is now $250, and decided that if we were together for just 1 day a week for 8 weeks, the cost would be $2,000. And I knew that this was an extremely fair price for my program, and more importantly, it's absolutely worth the freedom that you would experience from it. And I know that some of you would easily be able to afford this, but I also know that many of you may not have that kind of money in your budget right now. And this price at $2,000 price point is not in alignment with my purpose, which is to make sure that my program is accessible to every person that needs it. So I decided to make the entire price of the Escape Anxiety program, including my book, even lower than one single office visit with me. You will now have countless hours with me as your personal anxiety expert, thought trainer, and coach for just $197. And I'm going to offer you a special offer today, if you choose today, that you will start this program and take back control of your life. I will include my special super squishy, super private speaker pillow. Normally I charge $17.99 for this, and I'll give it to you today for free. Now this is a limited time offer because I only have a limited number of them, and I really love these because you can listen to your meditations at night while lying in bed and let those messages and the soothing music just speak to you personally. I give you these incentives because I've seen that 95% of the people that are successful at this program, and actually successful in general, are the people that take action now. The truth is, if you don't do it now, chances are you never will. In fact, I will take all of the risk out of this for you completely. You can try my program for a full 30 days, and if you don't see your anxiety melting away and your outlook on life dramatically changing, you can just email me personally and I'll give you a complete refund. You literally have nothing to lose but your anxiety. So click Send My Program below. It will take you to an order page where you will fill out your shipping and credit card information. Once you click Submit to complete your order, we will package your risk-free Escape Anxiety program, book, and super squishy fun speaker pillow and ship it to you right away. See you soon on your path to escape anxiety and mind bossery.